MMA world. In an exciting announcement, the GFL has officially confirmed what fans have been waiting for, a rematch between Luke Rockhold and Chris Weidman. While the exact date hasn't been set yet, this brings back memories of their first intense battle in 2015, where Rockhold dramatically ended Weidman's undefeated streak with a TKO in round 4, claiming both his record and the middleweight title. Looking at their journey since then, it's been quite a roller coaster. Weidman's path has been challenging, fighting 10 more times in the UFC with only 3 victories. Rockhold's recent career has been equally difficult, winning just one of his last 5 UFC appearances. In a brutal turn of events, he recently lost teeth during a TKO loss to Mike Perry in bare-knuckle fighting. However, Rockhold showed his resilience by securing a 3rd-round knockout victory over Joe Schilling in karate combat. In other news, there's rising tension as Gilbert Burns and Hinata Moicano have stepped forward to criticize Din Thomas for his harsh words about Sean Strickland following his loss to Dricus du Plessis. Thomas didn't hold back when speaking to Ariel Helwani, saying emotionally charged words. "He's not that guy. People think I'm being mean. I'm not being mean. I'm not that guy. Not many people are that guy. Dricus du Plessis is that guy, but Strickland is not." Thomas went further, questioning Strickland's evolution. He might have been there a couple of times in his career or whatever, but that's not who he is now. We've seen it his last couple of fights. He's just not willing to go in and be the dog that he told us he was. Burns and Moicano found these comments particularly disrespectful, especially given Thomas's background as a former fighter.
I think that's bad to say.
I don't like
because
that
the guy was a former champion, like you or not, like me or not.
No, and he went toe to toe.
No, he beat Adesanya.
Yeah, and he went forward. I was there in Sydney, and I was.
He went on the Alex Pereira fight. He was ready to fight.
Yeah, I don't. I think that's very disrespectful. Especially to a former fighter to say that from an actual fighter.
Hey, you guys are starting a beef with Dean Thomas.
I'm cool with Dean Thomas, but I just don't agree with what he said. I think I'm very respectful, but I think he's a real fighter, so sometimes the fight is complicated, sometimes you don't get the rhythm, sometimes it's not your day. And to be honest, Dricus, we talk about that a couple times, he's so awkward. It's hard to get it going with the guy that hits you so hard from freaking different angles. Crazy defense is hard, right?
Let's talk about that, because that was funny, because I remember Anderson Silva on his prime, that division. I don't know if he's good or not, but to watch that man, people are gonna talk trash to me because I just lost, right, in the first round. But to me, that was not like a championship fight. You know what I mean? Because they were so.
Which fight?
Dricus
and Sean.
Okay.
There was like, I was watching that and say, man, this is look like amateur kickboxing. You know what I mean? There was not. I don't know, man. That doesn't look like a championship fight.
I know what you're saying, but bro, Dricus has a freaking heart. I respect Dricus so much, especially after what he said. I'm just kidding.
In a dramatic turn of events, Sean Strickland has fired back at his coach Eric Nicksick's recent comments. After Strickland's loss to du Plessis, Nicksick appeared on Ariel Helwani's show expressing deep disappointment in Sean's performance. He questioned Sean's commitment to MMA, making it clear he wants to coach world champions, not fighters primarily motivated by money. Strickland didn't take this lying down. He released an emotional video on social media, criticizing Nicksick for airing these concerns publicly instead of having a private conversation. While clearly hurt, Strickland confirmed they'll remain friends, but announced Nicksick won't be in his corner for future fights.
Alright guys, keep tagging me about this Eric thing, and goddamn it, because I like Eric. He's a friend of mine, and he's going to continue to be a friend of mine. Will he probably be in my corner? Probably not. We have so many great guys at Extreme, Nate, Ray Cepho. We have so many savages that I would love to corner me. But man, that entire fight camp was just a struggle. Like, it was a struggle. And guys, we all have excuses as to why we didn't win or why we won and we shouldn't have won. We all have excuses, and they don't matter. The only reason why I'm making this video is because Eric had to go do a podcast and become an influencer. So now I gotta alright, kind of explain myself. Opportunity. And not just with fighting. Opportunity never comes when it's supposed to. It doesn't matter what the circumstances, what the situation is. You will never wake up and say, no, today is the perfect day for opportunity. It will come at the worst time. It will come at the worst time. And how many times it comes and you raise your hand and you say, you know what, like, I'm ready. A lot of times you fail. A lot of the times you fail. And a lot of times you don't fail. And it's like, you must say yes. This is not an excuse, but that entire camp was just a struggle of I'm good. Knowing you're not good. I was in Colombia like 7 weeks out, and getting stem cells on a broken bone. Again, bone healed fine, not an excuse. It just kind of weighs in the back of your head. I was training with that Ritter guy, the submission guy, and he hit me with a whizzer. It was already broken. And dude, I thought my arm snapped. It's like, I gotta go to Colombia, like, this is. But all camp, this is just in the back of your head, and like, you just keep telling yourself, I'm good. And I think this is just what all men do. Like, all men do this. Like, you look in the mirror and, like, even though you know you're not good, you're like, I'm good, dude. You're a man. You sack up. You know, you guys, I don't fight to put belts on the wall. I don't fight because, you know, Eric wants to go do a fancy podcast. That's not why I fight. I broke my nose like 3 times in that round, and every single time I didn't quit. I didn't go sit on the stool and say, hey, my nose is broken, I can't fight. I adjusted every time. And I thought, you know, man, maybe I'll get lucky, maybe I won't. But at the end of the day, dude, we all have a story, and no one gives a I'm grateful for my life. I love my job. I love my fans. I support you guys just as much as you support me. Back in the gym, sack up and on to the next.
In exciting heavyweight news, Alexander Usyk has responded to Alex Pereira's ambitious goal of becoming a 3-sport world champion. Pereira, who's already achieved greatness by holding both middleweight and light heavyweight titles in Glory Kickboxing and UFC, has set his sights on boxing's heavyweight division, specifically targeting Usyk. Speaking to TNT Sports, Usyk showed genuine interest in this potential crossover bout, saying with enthusiasm, "First is who wins this next fight on February 22nd. Next, maybe a show fight with Alex Pereira. Maybe, why not? Alex wants to." In a heartwarming show of support, Daniel Cormier and Chael Sonnen have stepped up to defend Sean Strickland against the overwhelming criticism he's faced after UFC 312. Many in the MMA community have been harsh, calling out Strickland for not living up to his pre-fight promise of fighting Duplessis to the death. DC, speaking from experience, shared some profound wisdom. People are kind of piling on this guy. It's kind of crazy how much people are piling on. When sure, he lost, but sometimes you get beat. You know what's crazy? I get it. People can say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Dude, sometimes it just doesn't work. Your intention is to go out there and die. Then some guy kicks your butt to the point you're like, man. DC continued with genuine empathy. I might actually have to die fighting this dude, and you're like, I don't want to do that. You have the right to pivot and turn. Chael Sonnen added his perspective, sharing personal experience. Yeah, why so much hate? Did he do bad? I was proud of his effort. Having your nose broken? It hurts really bad. Breaking a finger or breaking a nose, 2 small things, but I'll just tell you, the pain is really immense. And to watch Sean eat it and stay in the fight, the math was already against him with the broken nose. He was not going to win that fight. He did not have the power. He was not going to find the guy, and the math was against him. So he can stay out there for another 12 minutes taking a whooping because it was honorable. Or he could quit. He chose to stay in there and take a whooping. In a sobering analysis, Michael Bisping and Paul Felder have expressed their belief that Sean Strickland's title hopes might be permanently dimmed after his narrow split decision loss to Duplessis in their first encounter. Many expected Strickland to evolve and expand his arsenal. However, the decisive nature of his defeat in the rematch has led both commentators to doubt whether he'll ever get another shot at the belt.
You don't have to fight to the death. You don't have to be that fighter to be a very talented fighter and to be a champion in the UFC. But sure as shit, if you're gonna say all that stuff and you're gonna try to piss people off, and then you don't adjust and then fight on the fly like that. Dom's right. He's tough as shit. There's no doubt about that. His nose was shattered off the side of his face, and he tried to set it back. He hung in there and took a lot of big shots. But for me as a fan, and a fan of his coach that's sitting on the couch here on Saturday here on the East Coast while you guys were down there in Sydney, I was here with a couple of buddies, like, scratching my head. Like, what do you, I know you're better than this. I know you know how to wrestle. I know you know how to do something other than just throw teeps and jabs, man. He never opened up again. And now that might have been the last shot at ever having that belt.
Well, it certainly is in the near future. That's It's just a given. You've had 2 title fights out of your last 3. They're really hard to come by. You've been beaten by the same guy twice now. And that one, there's no discussion. It was a clear-cut decision for Dricus.
In an intriguing development, Kamaru Usman has identified Nassourdine Imavov as the fighter most likely to dethrone Dricus du Plessis. Despite Imavov's unanimous decision loss to Sean Strickland in 2023, Usman believes Imavov's striking prowess, recently showcased in his knockout victory over Roman Dolidze, could be the key to defeating du Plessis on the feet.
For him, what's next for DDP? I would say Hamzat. From what I saw yesterday, there's still a big question mark on potentially two guys that I think have a great shot at maybe dethroning a guy like DDP. I do think if he fought a guy like Nassourdine Imavov the way that he fought Sean Strickland last night, I don't like that fight for DDP. When you just think about it, when you primarily stand up with, we saw how the stand-up was with Israel. When you primarily just stand up with Nassourdine Imavov, I just, man, he might be the sharper guy besides Israel Adesanya right now with the striking in that division. So, I mean, you've got Nassourdine Imavov, you've got Israel, and you've got sharp hands. I would have to go also with Brandon Allen's really, really good hand. So I think definitely I want to see those 2 fights first. Hamzat Chimaev, potentially Nassourdine Imavov, then potentially move up. Because at that point, yes, you can say, I've gone through that top 5 in that division. Yeah, I deserve to move up. So it makes sense. But if he does move up, Henry, like you were saying, I don't know if I favor him against Alex Pereira. That's blasphemy.
The ongoing saga between Colby Covington and Dustin Poirier continues to intensify. Covington remains persistent in pursuing a fight with Poirier, even though Dustin has consistently refused the matchup over the years. Poirier's stance has been clear. He believes any confrontation with Covington would escalate beyond the octagon, potentially leading to his arrest.
I'll never fight Colby in an octagon where there's finances on the line. If I fight Colby, we're both going to jail. I'm going to jail. I'm not going to fight him in the octagon. He's not making money off of my career and what I've done. This is something different, you know. You will never see me fight Colby Covington in the UFC.
Speaking of Dustin Poirier, he's currently working with the UFC to schedule what he's announced will be his final fight, planning for it to take place in New Orleans this year. During a recent Twitch livestream, Colby Covington eagerly volunteered to be Poirier's retirement opponent. In what fight?
Angel Bands, I would love if it was Dustin versus Colby. You know I want that fight more than anybody in the world. He's the one that got me kicked out of that gym. He's the one that, oh, Colby's such a meanie head. He said such mean words. But, you know, I treat everybody with respect and class. Unlike him, he treats people like he walks all over them. Fans, I've seen come up to him in the gym, hey, can I get a picture? No, he just pats him away. He acts like he's too big for people and too good. And he has a big ego, so I would love to smash that ego. But it's okay. If he wants to go into retirement without fighting me, he's my forever, for life. I own that soul.
Could be the biggest news of the day. Ilia Topuria may have just leaked information about a potential super fight between himself and Islam Makhachev. This would be a monumental move for Topuria, stepping up from featherweight to lightweight to challenge Islam for a second title. Earlier, Islam had teased something special in the works, telling Match TV mysteriously, I can't announce it yet, but there's an offer that we need to sit down with the team and think about because there are options. We need to decide together what to do. There is an option. But let's wait for now. When Topuria appeared on the Full Send podcast today, he couldn't contain his excitement about the potential matchup. I really believe I can beat the current champion Islam. I like to fight with people that the fans think it's going to be very competitive. With Islam, I'm going to have that. When questioned about why the UFC might be hesitant, Topuria revealed with confidence, I don't think that they don't want to make it happen. It's in the works. They are trying to figure out some things. He's going to have a hard time with me, and something he knows, and we all know, is the only thing I need is one punch. At some point, I will connect that punch. Everything will depend on what God will decide. If he wants to send Islam to sleep or not, who knows that? And that wraps up today's MMA news. For those who want to stay updated with daily MMA news and content, don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon for notifications when new videos are posted. Looking at the top comments from our last video, we've got some passionate responses. One viewer candidly admits, "I legitimately skip every single section where Bilal, Usman, or Henry talk." Another comment from More Core Division notes humorously, "Eric throwing Sean under the short bus is hilarious." And finally, a direct message to Bilal. Bilal needs to talk less and defend the title. Remember, if you want to be featured in our